to you um, is to be able to share a little bit about where we are as an agency, but more importantly, something that you guys talked about this morning that I think is really on my heart and mind is how do we actually solve impossible problems? And when we think about human trafficking, and especially in Mark, as we talked yesterday at the Ragus board meeting, human trafficking is a human rights problem. And I loved actually this morning hearing too that there are those basic needs that really drive human trafficking numbers up, whether that's poverty, vulnerability of homelessness, or abuse. And so I think as Rotarians, we need to be able to think about how do we actually solve this impossible problem. And since we just came off of Martin Luther King's birthday, and at Three Strands Global Foundation, we really think about not only his birthday, but all the different ways that he has influenced us in a broader sense. And I love this quote. And I think it's actually very telling for us as Rotarians as well. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. And I think that that is absolutely positively accurate. And as we think about this worldwide problem, and how do we really end it in our lifetime, we need to be collaborative, we need to be coordinated, because that's how we're actually going to make a dent in this. And so I think that the cause-based clubs are one way to be able to globally address this problem through Rotary, and because we are people of action, and we are people who want to be able to get things done. And this is a scourge around the globe, and something that we need to address with best practices in the very best way. So I know some of you have heard my story, but for those of you who have not, I like to be able to share my own experience. Those of you who know Three Strands Global Foundation know that we have been around for 14 years, really focused on prevention, which I'll highlight here a little bit this morning. But in that focus of prevention, there was a start. And my career was in marketing communications for high-tech companies in Silicon Valley. But when human trafficking hit me personally through one of my very good friends' daughters at 17 who was trafficked, it really changed the course of my career and of my life 14 years ago. And so Zoe is what we call my friend's daughter. And those of you who know Three Strands too know that survivor not only partnership, but really leadership is a key component of Three Strands work. 49% of our staff is actually lived experience. That means that we, in our programming, whether it's prevention education or economic empowerment, is really about listening and following the lead of survivors. So Zoe's story began at 17. She actually began from the beginning of her life, but at 17, she was hanging out with a bunch of other 17-year-olds. And in a very social event, a attractive man who's 22 years old befriended that group, and was really figuring out who was most vulnerable in the crowd. And as he continued to ask questions and figure out vulnerabilities, Zoe was the one who he tagged as the most vulnerable. And after they had socialized for many, many hours, asked them all to, if they wanted to be taken home. And so piled them in the car and one by one took them home, but didn't take Zoe home. He actually not only posted her for sale on Craigslist, but then sold her 15 to 20 times a day to people who are seeking to have sex with minors. When she was recovered, one of the things that her mom really talked to me about, and our co-founders of Three Strands Global Foundation, was this understanding that human trafficking was not something people understood. And 14 years ago, this, and even today, as Mark talked about, right, there is a need for awareness around our communities. So the trial happened. The trafficker was sentenced to 12.5 years in federal prison, and Three Strands Global Foundation began. And that really has been my story. We focus in on 3 different areas of initiatives. And as Frederick Douglass says, it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. And we truly, truly believe that. So our 3 initiatives at Three Strands Global Foundation, and which you guys endorse, which we're incredibly grateful for, are education, employment, and engagement. 3 E's. We talk a lot in threes at Three Strands. So this is just a 30-second video that I think is really powerful. We believe that education needs to happen in our schools. And because of the story that I just shared you, one of the things that we've heard from survivors for 14 years is, let's go upstream. Let's stop the crime before it starts. And so this is one of the doctors that we work with in Fort Worth ISD, a counselor, and she'll just speak for 30 seconds and let you know a little bit about the power of our PROTECT program, which is our prevention education.
At Three Strands Global Foundation, the thing that we focus on is hope, and prevention is hope.
This PROTECT program is so needed. When we were doing the curriculum, one of the students indicated that someone was trying to engage with her online. This person had asked her questions about where she lived and how old she was. We got that shut down, very, 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 very quickly, because we just made the right intervention at the right time.
Give hope today at 3sgf.org/hope.
So one of the things that we do is at Three Strands, we have 6 prevention education programs now. PROTECT is our one of our original programs from back in 2010, and it is a K-12 training for teachers and counselors and all staff out of school, but also a kindergarten to 12th grade curriculum. We have a trainer of trainers that we actually use to be able to empower those on a campus to actually take the PROTECT program into the classroom themselves. They see these kids day in, day out, and so they know them, and they can actually teach directly to them. So it is a 4-pronged approach. There's a protocol, there's training, there's K-12 education, and then everything we do at Three Strands Global Foundation is founded in research. This, as I said, is been a survivor-informed program since 2010, but also we have both quantitative and qualitative data that we use to guide us. We believe that if we aren't making an impact, then why are we doing it? So we rely on our research in every single way in order to make sure that we are best practice. We have 10 federal grants across the United States that we've received for this PROTECT program in multiple states, and they are recognized as best practice. And so we really believe that individuals, Rotarians, teachers, counselors can take this program and implement it in all places around the United States, in rural and urban communities alike. This is just a snapshot of that K-12 curriculum that we use. And we've reached over 1 million students and 120,000 adults through this program, which we're incredibly humbled by. I talked about research, and this is a really important piece. Three Strands a few years ago forged a relationship with a company in Germany to use OpenAI and natural language processing to measure what I just talked about. If we're not making an impact, why are we doing it? But in this space, you can see we're measuring behavior change, which is a key component of the things that we need to measure in order to see that we are making a difference. So this is saying that 70% of those who have actually given us stories, which is in this group of research, 20,000, is saying that they have actually made behavior change in their classrooms or in their communities to the betterment of their community and to actually end human trafficking, as well as knowledge and awareness. So this is actually one of those short stories to be able to really talk about that we need to be educated and informed so that we can protect ourselves and our community. Those 27,000 qualitative data points allow us with really great accuracy to be able to improve our curriculum and our training, but also to be able to figure out what's working and what's not working. This is our implementation across the United States. A lot of our federal grants are in California, Utah, and Texas, but obviously you can see that we have great representation across the US and Canada too, which I know we've got some folks here from Canada. So the other piece that, as I talked about 3 E's, is engagement. And Three Strands really believes, in fact, today I'm going to be at the Capitol in Sacramento. I'm here at our headquarters, and really speaking from an advocacy perspective. And I know that as Rotarians, we are not political, but this is a bipartisan issue. And I think that it's really important that we look at systems. We address the impossible problem of human trafficking by addressing systems. And that includes our telling our politicians that it matters to be able to address this. And so we have long been a sponsor of many bills. In California last year, human trafficking became a serious felony in the state of California. We have been working federally for really on behalf of survivors and prevention for years and years. And so actually, in a week and a half, I'll be in Washington meeting with congressional members and really addressing more legislative changes that need to be happening. And as we think about this, I love William Wilberforce's quote, "We can choose to look the other way, but never again can we say we didn't know." And I think as Rotarians, we have been really effective at saying that and really addressing this impossible problem of human trafficking. This I want to be able to share with you. We talk often about Protect and our prevention education with Rotarians around the globe. But today you talked about this, and I'm so glad you did, which is economic empowerment. The other part of what we focus in on at Three Strands Global Foundation is employment, and economic empowerment is key. We have a direct services program that we have served over 1,000 survivors to place into sustainable jobs. And so I'm going to play this short video so that you can hear directly from this program. And I would love to be able to just share these best practices with you.
I am the first client for E+E. With Employee Plus Empower, you guys have taught me that it's okay to have mental health issues. I suffer from PTSD. Even with my mental health, like you guys have helped with so many things. And you guys gave me my life back. I feel normal going to look for a job now.
So E+E stands for the Employee Plus Empower program. We are a case management program for survivors of human trafficking, as well as individuals at risk of exploitation. All of our case management is focused around breaking down barriers to employment and education. And within that, we also provide workforce development and education services.
I came to E+E very broken. They taught me how to feel comfortable even using my voice, to be able to go in there and speak highly of myself and sell myself in a positive way with the intention of building a career. Employee Plus Empower has taught me to take back my life. I've been able to become very self-sufficient and efficient in the workforce and learn how to, do new things as an employee.
Our main goal really is to be client-centered and client-focused. Our goal is that our clients are going to leave our program with an increase in their self-esteem, confidence that they can obtain that job or successfully meet their professional goals. Also, a greater sense of self-sufficiency. We do professional skills. We do career development, resumes, program exploration, education support. All of those skills, again, it's going to be tailored to our client, but it all starts with them being able to identify, I'm important, I'm of value, I have needs, and now I'm learning how to voice those needs to others. But the ultimate goal is that self-sufficiency piece when they graduate. The E+E program is important because our clients are important. All of this work we're doing, it's for our clients. It's to support them in being successful. What we're doing is impactful and it's powerful. And we're taking an approach that, again, it's not a one size fits all. It's something that makes us unique.
What I've gained from the program is belief that people actually know what you've been going through and have been there before. And it's like, you're not the only one. There's a lot of us out there that actually need help and can use and benefit from a program like your guys' program. I've learned that I am worth the effort. Life is too precious, so don't give up on yourself.
As long as we have clients that need that support, our program is going to continue to provide as much support as we can.
I've learned stability. Places like Three Strands really teaches you can get employed, you can achieve your goals, and you can just keep going. And if I didn't have Three Strands, I don't think I'd be as far as I am in life right now.
Give hope today at 3sgf.org/hope.
So as I said, Employee Plus Empower has reached over 1,000 survivors and placed them into sustainable jobs. Again, this is the foundation of our work. We have our survivor advisory board that we actually listen to and is our rudder and helps us to be able to deliver the best practice programs that we have. This is a slide that I love to show because this is the trajectory of our goals. We want survivors to go from crisis to thriving, to be economically empowered, and we measure that. As you guys know, I talked about research. Just like everything we do, we measure all of our clients as they come in from crisis, and the goal is to get them to thriving. Because if we can make sure in all of these categories that they are thriving, then we will have done our good work. And we also measure mental health services, call that our mental health matrix, to make sure from these categories that they go from crisis to thriving. This is incredibly powerful data, that when we say that we actually have a best practice program to empower and economically help our clients to thrive, it actually shows that through this data. So when I think about my story and I think about the last 14 years and how it has continually daily inspired me, I hope that you today take a moment to think about your story and all the amazing and wonderful things that you are doing as Rotarians to truly end human trafficking. Because I know that each of you are part of this mosaic that we in this movement need in order to really end this. For sure. So if you haven't thought about that, think about it tonight as you put your head on your pillow, wherever you may be around the globe. What do you want your story to be? How do you want to impact your community? And for us at Three Strands, I'll just leave you with that there are always ways to help, whether it is in your local community or that you actually want to be able to connect with us at Three Strands. There are lots of ways. And I think that it's important to be able to know that those are around to be able to support, and we would love to be able to have your support like you do in endorsing us at Three Strands. So hopefully that has been a good amount of time. I am happy to take any questions that you all might have, and wanted to make sure to let some time for that as well.
Well,